The deployment notice for the international aid mission just arrived at my door. Melanie, my fiancée of 5 years, immediately cornered me. She wanted me to give my spot to her deadbeat younger brother, Jackson. Artie, I know you've been grinding in the field for years, and this is a huge deal, she started, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. But this opportunity is even more important for Jackson. He's still young. If he gets that international experience on his resume, we'll all be living the high life when he gets back. Jackson leaned back on the couch and let out a theatrical sigh. Bro, you didn't even finish college. You'll probably just embarrass the family over there since you can barely speak the language. Why waste the trip? Before I could even defend myself, my father, Silas, slammed his hand onto the dining table. You're the older brother. Taking care of him is your goddamn responsibility, he barked. If you dare to go off and enjoy this luxury while your brother rots here, I'll disown you. Listening to their twisted, parasitic logic, I could only sneer inwardly. They actually believed I had applied for a paid vacation in the French Riviera. They had no idea I was headed to a literal war zone in the Middle East, a place where bullets fly every day, and survival isn't guaranteed. I saw the greed flickering in Jackson's eyes. He couldn't hide it if he tried. I shrugged and nodded slowly. Fine, if that's what you want, I'll let him have the spot. The red notification letter sat on the table. The emblem of the International Relief Committee was unmistakable. Melanie clutched the letter to her chest like it was a winning lottery ticket. She was terrified I might change my mind and snatch it back. Artie, don't think I'm being cruel. Jackson's never even left the state. This is his big break. As she spoke, her eyes kept drifting toward Jackson with a strange intensity. Jackson was sprawled out on the sofa, picking his teeth. Arrogance was practically oozing from his pores. Mel is right, man. A quiet loser like you would just waste a trip like this. Stay here and keep fixing your greasy machines. Leave the world traveling and networking to someone who actually has a future. I looked at my brother, a man who had been coddled into uselessness by our parents. For years, I worked double shifts at the factory just to pay for his tuition at that bottom-tier community college he eventually dropped out of. And what did he do? He took my hard-earned money and spent it at clubs, chasing girls and playing the big shot. Melanie, my supposed partner, never once took my side. She was always Jackson's biggest cheerleader. Jackson, how's your conversational Arabic or Farsi? You know, the basics? I asked calmly. Jackson's face stiffened for a second, but he quickly puffed out his chest. Who cares about that? Everyone speaks English in the big cities over there. Besides, Mel told me that with my brains, I'll find a way to make a fortune the moment I land. I turned to Silas, my own father. He was puffing on a cheap cigar, his face obscured by a cloud of acrid smoke. His expression was grim and threatening. Your brother is right. You have no degree. You'd just be a disgrace to the Vance name if you went. Transfer the spot to Jackson. The matter is settled. He didn't even ask for my opinion. He simply handed down the verdict like a judge. I looked around the house. My old academic awards were still pinned to the wall, fading and covered in dust. In this family, I was nothing more than a spare part, something to be used and discarded whenever it suited them. Are you guys absolutely sure you want this? I asked one last time. Melanie let out a sharp, hysterical laugh. Arthur Vance, what is wrong with you? Why are you still fighting this? I'm telling you right now, if you don't agree to this, the wedding is off. She slammed her engagement ring onto the table. It made a sharp, metallic clatter. I stared at that ring. I had saved up for months to buy it, but now, it looked incredibly cheap. Fine. Since you want it so badly, I'll take Jackson to the processing center tomorrow. I stood up and walked to my bedroom without looking back. Through the thin walls, I could hear the cheers erupting in the living room. Jackson was already shouting about buying designer suits. Melanie was calculating how many luxury handbags she could get him to bring back. Silas was on the phone with our relatives, bragging about how his youngest son was headed to Europe to become an elite. I leaned against the door and pulled out my phone. On the screen was a top-secret internal email from the Relief Association.